What's up, notJust developers? Welcome to a new live stream. Today is a Friday. It's another live stream. It's another build, and we're gonna continue our e-commerce application in React Native. And today we're gonna add the backend part to our React Native application that we have built in the previous videos. If you're new here, wait 2 minutes and you'll understand what we are doing, and you're gonna be able to also continue from here. So hello everyone in the live chat. I'm gonna get back to you shortly. Let's speak about exactly what we're gonna do today, what is the plan for today's build, and then we can get started. So where is it? The first thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna add authentication to our application because e-commerce shop would need people to log in, to register, to save their address, to see their orders, and so on. And for that, we need authentication to protect our application. With Amplify, this is super easy to set up and create everything related to the authentication. So you're gonna see how easy it is. Then we're gonna continue with a Graphql API. We're gonna create this API to manage all our data about the products, all our data about the orders, the users' addresses, and so on. And in this build, compared to other builds that we have on this channel, we are gonna create the application to be offline first. And what does that mean? It means that I have to share my screen. Thank you very much. I always forget to do that. So as I was saying, the GraphQL will be offline first. And that means that the application will work even when we're gonna be offline. The application will cache all the data on the device storage, and it will also be possible to, for example, to create an order while you're offline, and when you're back online, everything will be synced with the remote database. So it sounds very technical, it sounds like a lot of moving pieces, but you'll see how how easy Amplify makes this for us. Then we're gonna set up AWS S3 storage, where we'll be able to store all the images for our products. The cool thing about everything here will be the AWS Amplify admin UI, and we're gonna use the admin UI to manage all the content in our application in a very beautiful, easy to use UI that is ready for us to configure our backend, to configure our data, to manage the data, to manage users who will be able to add, for example, these products in our application, and so on. So I'm super excited about this build. We're using a lot of cool features here, and let's move on. So for the front-end technologies, we are gonna work in React Native. The application has been started using React Native CLI. It's not Expo, and we're working in TypeScript. Regarding the backend technologies, as you already understood, we are gonna use the AWS Amplify technologies. This is a very cool backend as a service technology provided by AWS. And essentially what it makes, it gives us easy access for front-end developers to all the AWS resources that, not all, but a lot of them, like the most important one, such as Amazon S3, Amazon Cognito, and everything like that. But for us developers, it's super easy to make, and everything is taken care of for us behind the scenes. So you don't need to know all the difficulties and all the challenges of AWS. You just need to learn this AWS Amplify, and you'll see how awesome it is. So let's by the way, I'm not sponsored by AWS Amplify. That's all my experience. Especially today I was preparing for this build, and I managed to make this admin UI work, and I don't know, I'm so excited because I understand how easy it is nowadays to create MVPs, to create even production-ready applications with Amplify. And if I would have a chance to go back in time, I would start my startup on Amplify, and yeah, forget about the MERN stack, because that's a bit outdated, and yeah, this is much easier. So if you're new on this channel, hello, welcome. My name is Vadim. I'm a full stack developer for over 7 years. At the moment, I am the CTO at a small startup, Fitinium, and I also worked at Amazon. Yeah, and nowadays, besides the startup, I'm sharing all my journey, all my knowledge with you guys here on YouTube. And if you enjoy what you're doing, please consider subscribing to the channel, turn on the notification bell, because we are going live every Friday at 2 p.m. GMT, basically this time if you're watching it live. And yeah, follow me on social medias to keep in touch throughout the week. All right, so from the prerequisites, what do you need to follow along? You would need the asset bundle, and there you'll find all the dummy data, all the images, icons, this PDF presentation if you want to have it to follow along, to access all the links easily. Then you downloaded it from assets.notjust.dev/Amazon. You will also need an AWS account and the Amplify CLI setup. You can follow along this guide. It's pretty straightforward what you have to do. You will create an AWS account. It's free to create. It will ask you for your credit card. But basically all the services that we are using today, they have a free tier, which means that for testing and developing, they will be free for you. Whenever you will start receiving millions of users and requests, then only then like Amazon will start charging. But yeah, check the pricing page for all the services that you are using to make sure that everything is okay. So let's go back. Yeah, this is the guide to sign up for AWS account and then to set up the CLI. After that, I'm gonna take you by hand and we're gonna create everything together. And also, yeah, you need some coffee and we can get started. The starting point. So this is the third video in our e-commerce application series. In the first two parts, we have built the React Native UI from scratch. And here on the right, I can show you a little bit of a demo. So if we go on the home page, here on the bottom we have a menu, on the top we have a search bar, and yeah, the home page will be a list of items. This is everything we created customly. I explained everything how to do, and whenever you press on an item, it will open it in a new page where you will be able to look at the details. Here you'll be able to select the options if there are any, the prices, some details, and you'll be able to select how many you want to buy, add to cart. Then you will be able to go to the cart. Here you'll see all the items that you have added to the cart. Today we're gonna make this not only visible, not only the UI, but also the logic behind it and the data. And after you finish the shopping cart, you can proceed to checkout, fill in your data here. This is a form with some basic form validation. You can select the country and so on. So yeah, this is the most important part of our application, what we have been able to create in the first two videos. I highly recommend you start from there if you're also interested in learning React Native. However, if you're already experiencing React Native and you don't want, it will be boring for you, I don't know, and you are only interested in Amplify, that's totally fine, and you can clone the UI branch of our Amazon clone GitHub repository. You go on my account, Amazon clone. Here in the branches, look for the UI branch. And this is the branch that we're going to start from today. Okay. And yeah, clone the repo, install all the dependencies as usual with yarn install or with npm install, then install the pods if you are on Mac OS, then run the project with yarn start, and then run it on a device using yarn iOS if you're on Mac OS, or yarn Android if you're on Windows or Linux, or even Mac OS, you can run it on Android. So the application will work both on Android and iOS. However, I choose to do it on iOS because it's a bit faster on my system. All right, so that was the introduction. How is it going, guys? Okay. Is it live or recorded? It is live. I can do a dance, I don't know, to prove it. It's live. Okay. But yeah, the live stream will be published on the channel afterwards. And if you're watching this afterwards, there will be timestamps in the description of the video, hopefully. If there are not, please remind me to add them. And you can jump around the features that we create. And after finishing each features, I try to answer a couple of questions and to talk with the live audience. So yeah, if you want to skip that, just look at the next feature that we are building and move forward. Okay. Yeah, guys, if you have any questions, write them in the live chat. I will be able to stop between features and answer them if they are specific to this project. Otherwise, you can join our Discord channel. It's in the description, the link. And then we can talk about other non-related to this project questions and anything you want to talk about. And also at the end of the video, as usually, we stay like for 20 minutes and we discuss, we have a little chat about random stuff. So previous time it was a nice talk. Today, hopefully we will do it again. So, hi from North Carolina. Hello. Still working through part 2. That's really awesome. Good luck. How is it going? Do you have any issues? Okay. Share your screen, please. Yep. Perform AWS Amplify setup step by step in this video. Yeah, we're gonna set up everything regarding Amplify for the project, like to set up the project, starting from this part. We're gonna do it together. However, the only step that you need to do yourself is to do like npm install global amplify CLI and then amplify configure. Yeah, just follow this guide to set up the CLI because I already did that. And then, yeah, after that, we're gonna do everything together. Okay, great work, brother. Thank you very much. Are you going to use Expo? No, for this build, we are using React Native CLI. In future, it depends on the project. We are using Expo. We have builds with both Expo and React Native CLI. Bro, don't use AWS Amplify. I think I'm gonna use AWS Amplify. Okay. Congrats. Thank you very much. Sir, you're back. Yes, I am. Hello. Okay. No, Alexandra, I'm not gonna dance Macarena, but good try. Well, okay. Okay, so let's get started. So the first step is to set up our AWS Amplify project. By the way, before that, I just wanted to let you know of one issue that I had running the project today. And yeah, this week I updated my system and I updated the Xcode to the version 12.5. If you're not working on a Mac OS, just ignore this part. However, on Mac OS, because of the update, Flipper was giving issues and I was not able to run the application. So the solution at this point is just to comment out these lines. So open iOS folder. In iOS, you open the pod file, and you comment out these lines. Use Flipper and the post install part. You save, and then you reinstall all the libraries. So basically, where is it? What I'm doing, I'm removing the pods directory, this one. I'm removing podfile.log, this one, and then I do npx pod install to reinstall all the pods. And after that, everything runs as expected. So if you have the same issue, try this and it might help. Okay, so here is our project. Okay, let's have a look. I think this way you can see it. Okay, so yeah, the first step is to set up our AWS Amplify project. Here is a link for the documentation where it describes all the steps that you need to take. So after going through the prerequisites, we go to the setup a full stack project. So the first thing to do is to run Amplify init. This will initialize our Amplify project. So let me clear everything that I have here. Clear. And let's run Amplify init. Okay. I also updated my Amplify CLI. So yeah, if you have a different version, consider upgrading to the latest one. In my case, Amplify version is 4.5. So that's just in case you have any issues with that. Okay, so enter a project and name for the project. Amazon clone is okay. And then it gives us all the default configuration that we already used. So environment development, Visual Studio Code, JavaScript, React Native. This is important. JavaScript framework should be React Native. Source directory source. And yeah, everything else is good. Then let's press yes and enter. And now I think it will not okay, it will ask us one more question, the authentication method. So in the first step, when setting up the CLI, you created a profile. So if it, yeah, I'm gonna choose the AWS profile, and I'm gonna choose the profile that I already created and that you should already have. Like this is yeah, a way to connect with the AWS console. And now it started creating this project in cloud. It will set up all the services behind the scenes. Yeah, there are a lot of services behind the scenes just set up for one project, like YAML roles, users, S3 buckets, and so on. Don't worry about that, like that's really advanced, and if you're new to AWS and AWS Amplify, that might be scary, but yeah, Amplify makes it a bit easier. Okay, so the next step is to install all the libraries that Amplify depends on. You can copy them from here, or you can look here for the most updated one if there will be any changes in future. Okay, let's add these libraries. By the way, the first command, the amplify init, that command generated for us a folder amplify, and here is where all the configuration, all the functions, all our API settings will be. We're gonna get into more details here, and also it should generated a file called AWS exports. So in my case, it generated it in the source directory. Usually for people have issues with this file because it's either in the root folder or it's in the source. So look for the AWS exports and see where this file is, because we're gonna need it in the next step. Because the next step is to first of all, if you're on Mac OS, we're gonna need to install the pods. But if you are on any other platform, we need to set up Amplify in our app.js. Actually, in our case, it's app.tsx. So let's open app.tsx. I have here a red arrow, which means that I'm not using that one. So let me delete it. And on the top, where is our imports? I'm gonna do them here. Let's import Amplify from AWS Amplify. I'm gonna add this. Let's import config, and you see from the documentation, the config tries to import the AWS export from the same folder. The same folder as app.tsx is the root folder, so there is no file like this, and you'll have an error, like cannot find module, because in our case, it's in the source. So let's add directory source and then AWS exports. Now everything is okay. And then we call amplify.configure using the config file that we imported. So let's run again our application on iOS, because we have native updates. So right now, let's do yarn iOS and wait until it rebuilds. And then for the configuration, it is done. Okay. Can we start the next project in Hermes? Yep. I think that I'm gonna try to do a project with these technologies as well. It's something exciting for me as well, and I know that it improved the performance, and now is also available on iOS, because previously it was only available for Android. So I'm gonna research more, document myself better, and then we can do one using it. Bro, how to launch it? Clone the repository. Repository, you can find the link here in this presentation. And then do yarn install, yarn start, and yarn iOS or Android if you're on Windows. But you have to have the environment set up for React Native development. So if you're very new to React Native development and you have never done this, go to reactnative.dev, right? Let me see if this is the... And somewhere here, get started. You should see how to set up your environment. Okay, environment setup. I'm gonna zoom in a bit. Come on. Yeah, as usually the... Whoa, too much. Environment setup, setting up the development environment. Let's check out this one. And here, there is the React Native CLI quick start. You choose development, for example, on Windows or on Linux, target Android, and then you install all the dependencies, Node, JDK, Android development environment, Android Studio, and so on. Yeah, it's a lot of steps to set it up for React Native CLI. However, if you want a very quick start, use Expo. I really recommend using Expo for people starting out with React Native, because it's going to be much easier to get started. Like, look here, you just install Expo CLI with npm, and that's it. Then you can create projects. You don't have to set up Android Studio or Xcode or anything like that. What's going on here? So we are still waiting for it to build. Okay, it finished building. It ran on the device. We don't have any errors, so I suppose that everything was created successfully. Let's see the command finish. No, now it's rerunning. And yeah, as I said, everything works as expected. Nothing has changed because we just set up Amplify project for later adding features from Amplify. So this step is finished. We can move to the next step. And the next step will be authentication. So authentication is pretty straightforward to add authentication to Amplify. So the syntax to add any services to Amplify is amplify add and then the name of the service. So in this case, the name is auth for the authentication, or auth, I don't know how to pronounce it. Okay. So do you want to use the default authentication and security configuration? Yeah, we are good with default configuration. However, if you want to set up, for example, login with social providers, such as login with Facebook, login with Google, with Apple, with Amazon, with anything, then you will use default configuration with social providers. And yeah, just insert the keys that you generate like through when setting up this authentication on Facebook, for example, or on Google, and then you'll be good to go to add that in your application. For the sake of simplicity, I'm gonna go with default configuration. How do you want users to be able to sign in? Let's go with username. Do you want to configure advanced settings? I think that no, I'm done. Let's go with the easiest and most basic configuration, which will still give us a lot of features. Okay, so what are we waiting? Here on the Getting Started guide for the Amplify, there is a section Add Authentication. If you want to read more about how authentication works, you can check out Amazon Cognito. This is the service that Amplify uses behind the scenes to manage users, groups, identities, permissions, and so on. Here is Amplify Add Authentication. We did that. And then Amplify Push. We're gonna need to install a couple of libraries. No, I think we installed all of them. This is the same as here, right? Let me check. I always ask this question: set up full stack project. Yeah, this is the same library as here. We already did that. So okay, yeah, I think we're done. Let's go back to our console here, and we see the successfully added authentication resources. However, in order to update our project in cloud on Amazon, on AWS, we need to write amplify push. This will take all the settings that we set up locally, and it will push to the cloud. I like that Amplify follows like similar commands as Git. So, for example, amplify push to push the changes to the cloud, amplify pull if you want to get the latest state of the the latest state of the application from the cloud. And here it asks us, are you sure you want to continue? We created the authentication category. We say yes. Then to manage environments, it's also very simple. For example, you can have multiple environments. Let's say development environment and production environment. And you will work on development environment to develop features, to test out, to have some dummy data. And once you're ready, you will do amplify checkout prod to check out to production environment. When you're gonna do amplify push, it will push all the changes to the production, and that's it. So I really like how we made it. Let's stay hydrated. Let's drink some water. So yeah, it creates all these resources on AWS. It usually takes around 2 minutes to finish setting up everything. But we can, I think we can set up the app.tsx, to set up the next step while we wait for it to update. So let's open app.tsx and write the 3 lines that will add the authentication to our stack. So it's here. So let's import it's called higher order component with authenticator, I think, from AWS Amplify React Native, like this. So higher order component is a component, is basically like a function that you can wrap around some other components. So in this case, we're gonna wrap this with authenticator around our application. So all the flow will first go through the authenticator. Let's go code not find declaration file for okay, no worries. Yeah, it will first go through the with authenticator, and then if the authenticator will allow, it will render the application. So we already see the login screen on the right, which means that it finished. All resources are updated in the cloud. And here, on the right, we already see the login screen. That's because we added this with authenticator, because if we don't have it, we will see our application as we used to see here. So let's wrap it around with authenticator. This will check if the user is logged in. If not, it will show this component to log in. So we don't have an account. Okay, no worries. We can create one here. Sign up. So username, Vadim. Let's go with a very secure password. Okay, email. For the phone, I'm gonna do something like this, and let's go for the sign up. This will send an email to us with a confirmation code in order to verify your account. Everything is already done for us. Like you'll see, look how easy it is, and in a way, it's much more secure when you would do it yourself. So I already got this email. I'm gonna grab the verification code from there. Okay, I'm gonna paste it here. Confirm. Okay. Then we are back to our sign in to our account. So let's add our credential. So if I type in something else, it will say incorrect username or password. And also it has the, you can set up password strength. So if you want your password to be very secure, you can add these rules. So let's sign in. And we are back in our application. If I restart the app, what's going on? No. Let me try to restart it. Come on. Okay. I will always struggle to restart it. It does not want to do so. No, this is recording. Okay, I will be able to do it from here, right? Pressing R, it restarted. So the second time we enter the application, we are not presenting with authentication screen, but we are already here in our app. So yeah, it caches our token, it manages everything behind the scenes for us. So how much time did it take? Like, I don't know, like 5 minutes until, and most of this time we just waited for the things to update in the cloud. We just import with Authenticator, we wrap our application around, and boom, we have all the steps, all the screens to manage a proper authentication flow. With sign up, with creating accounts, with logging, with forget password. If you forget password, you can go through that step again. Press forget password, you'll receive a code on your email. With that code, you can reset your password. And everything, yeah, is done for us. That's really awesome, but you might think, okay, but if I want to change the designs, you can change the designs, for example, colors, shape of the buttons, and so on, for this UI that you already saw. However, if you want something completely different, if you have like some crazy designs for the authentication screens, that's also possible. And what will you do? You will not use the with Authenticator, but you're gonna manage the authentication yourself from the UI side. I mean, you'll just create the UI side in React Native. Then from AWS Amplify, you're gonna import, I think it's auth. And whenever you, for example, want to log in, you're gonna call, let's say, auth dot, for example, change password, complete new password, configure, confirm sign in. Let's say sign in here, and you'll pass the username and the password, and Amplify will tell you if it was successful or error, and you'll manage these cases yourself. So that's also possible. Yeah, it takes more time. So for the sake of this tutorial, we're gonna stick with the default authentication. I think it's really nice for MVPs or for projects that you don't want to adjust the styles of the authentication flows. Also, how do you sign out? Let's implement that in, I don't know, in this more screen. Let's add, should we add a screen? I'm just gonna add a screen just to add the button, because you just need a button. And I'm gonna show you how to sign out when you press on a button. For this reason, let me create a folder called, I don't know, menu screen, something like that. Here I'm gonna create a index.tsx. Let's generate the React Native functional component, menu screen. And I'm gonna, in the, where is it? In our router, let's go to the bottom tab navigation. Let's import our, I'm gonna copy paste home screen, and I'm gonna change it to menu screen. This is something extra, guys, so you don't have to do this. but if you want, you can follow along. So I'm gonna put the menu screen here somewhere where I see shopping cart, more, this one. Menu screen, save, and if I go here, yeah, I see the menu screen. Okay, so let's go to the index here. I'm gonna need save area view, I think, and a view, let's say a pressable. This is the button. This way we will be able to do on press. The on press will do on log out. This will be the only button in this page at the moment. And inside the button we'll have a text, log out or sign out, let's say, sign out. Let's implement this function, const on logout. And here we should see it. I'm gonna just add a couple of styles. Oh, but I can, okay, I can do it with a button, you know? We have our custom button from source components here, and the text will be sign out. And the on press will be on logout, and type, does it have a type? It should have a type. Yeah, it's there on top. It's okay. And on logout, let's implement the logic there. So the logic on logout, let's, okay, I'm gonna clean here a bit. Yeah, I'm gonna import the auth module from AWS Amplify, not React Native, just AWS Amplify. And here on logout, I'm gonna call authentication.signout. That's it. You call authentication sign out whenever you press a button, and here we press it. Boom, we are back to the login screen. So if I refresh my application here, I'm gonna see the login screen because it cleared all the data for us. So from here you can press forget password, you'll put your username, you'll receive an email, and so on. So let me log back in. And yeah, I think this is the most important features, like to sign in, to create an account, and to sign out. So I showed you, I hope that was pretty clear. What do you think about that, guys? Is that easy, straightforward, helpful? Okay, so that's done with authentication. We are finished with it. Namaste from India, hello. Thank you for this amazing tutorial. Thank you for watching, and yeah, it's my pleasure. I really love doing these builds. It keeps me fresh. I'm always like looking for new technologies to use, and that's really nice. I've seen that you build React Native projects under the Expo environment. Have you ever ejected the project? And while building client project, do you work in the ejected environment? Yes, we ejected from Expo in the Netflix clone. This was our previous clone. We created everything using Expo, which was very easy to do. And at one point, we got into a roadblock when we wanted to integrate in-app purchases with Revenue Cat. So in that cases, you are not, you are not blocked. You have an option. You have an option to eject. So that's what we have done in that build. You can check it out on my channel. And yeah, after ejecting, like, you can install any library that uses native code. In this case, we were using RevenueCat, so it's perfectly fine for that. And while building client project, do you work in the ejected environment? It depends. If the project is really focused on, is data driven and mostly focused on the data, like, I don't know, presenting some data and entering some data. For example, for one client, in the past, they wanted like a mobile application for a restaurant management system. So in that case, like, you don't depend on any like native library. It's mostly like displaying data and inputting data. And we've done it with Expo. It was a couple of years ago when Expo's yet new, so the experience was really nice. Like, we were able to share the application with a client like real time, and yeah, it worked very well for us. What is your opinion on Redux Funk and Redux Saga? Let's keep that for another time. Really, it's helpful for learning. Thank you very much. Okay, guys. Oh, I almost spilled my coffee. Okay, the next step will be our GraphQL API. And this time we're gonna work with offline first API using Datastore. So yeah, how Datastore helps us. Datastore is a technology that you can use even without AWS. It works as a library as well, as a standalone library, and it helps cache all the data that you have in the application on your device, so that your application will work both while online and offline. Yeah, in a way it works also. Yeah, it also works as a global state management if you want, because you can specify which fields you want to sync with the database and which fields you want to be only on your device. Datastore integrates very well with the GraphQL API from Amplify, which is managed by AppSync. So you don't have to do anything. Datastore will make sure that your data is up to date with the data from the database. So in a way, you think that from your perspective, you're working with local data, but Datastore behind the scenes will sync this data, yeah, with the API, with other devices that you're logged in, and so on. It works very well with queries, mutations, with subscription. To build a real-time application, you get this feedback, yeah, real-time data updates, which is nice. What else about the Datastore? Yeah, let's have a look here at the documentation. You can follow the getting started guide here if you find any errors with the Datastore, or if you want to implement like extra features that we're not gonna cover in this video, like manipulating data, relationship models, and so on. So okay, where is it? First step to get started is to add the API module of Amplify. Amplify add API. Please select one. We're gonna work with a GraphQL API. The name, we can keep it as Amazon clone. And the authorization type, yeah, Amplify supports a couple of ways to authorize the access to our API, one of which is API key. This is very well for, I don't know, public APIs that you want to provide to to be accessible by anyone, or if you are still in development, you can use the API key, and then you can switch to something else. Another option is Amazon Cognito user pool, and this integrates with our authentication that we have already created, which is managed by Cognito. And this way, only authenticated users will be able to call the API. So yeah, this is a more secure way to manage authorization. However, we're gonna go with API key because it's still in development, so it's a bit easier to do that. So enter a description for the API key name. I don't know, API key Amazon. After how many days from now the API key should expire? Let's go with 365, just not to worry about generating a new API key after 1 week, for example. Do you want to configure advanced settings? Here is an important step. Yes, I want to make some additional changes. Configure additional of types, no. Enable conflict detection, and this is the important part. Here we need to say yes to enable conflict detection, and this is the step that will enable us to integrate with Datastore, because Datastore needs a way to detect conflicts in the data. For example, when your application is offline and you do some changes to the application, I know you update the title of this book, and someone else at the same time updates the description of a book. So whenever you get online, there will be a conflict detection, and based on the method, it will merge this data together. So for that reason, we need the conflict detection. And the default method, we're gonna go with auto merge to merge the data together. Do you have a GraphQL schema? No, we don't have one, but we're gonna create in a moment. So choose a schema template, one-to-many or let's go with one-to-many relationship. Not sure if we'll need it, but this is just a template, so we're gonna change everything there, and we're gonna add the, we're gonna create our schema for the data that we will need. Do you want to edit the schema now? Yes, let's do that. Visual Studio Code. And yeah, it opened our schema.graphql. If it failed to open automatically the schema GraphQL, you can find this file under Amplify, Backend, then API, Amazon clone, and here you will see the schema GraphQL. So open this file, and here is where we specify the schema of our GraphQL API. And the schema is basically a way to describe how our data will look. And based on this schema, Amplify will create everything behind the scenes. For example, for each model, Amplify will create a database table in Amazon AWS DynamoDB. So, and much more, like behind the scenes, like they generate a lot of stuff for us. Okay, so let me see if there is any questions related to this. I will get back to some questions that are not related to this step a bit later. All right. So, I'll move this schema down here just to have it as an example. I will even comment it out. And on the top, we can start writing our models. So first one, first type will be the product, and this is going to be a model. Bună seara. So what information our product will have? I'm going to open source data, and here I'm going to open the product.ts to have an example of what data we have and what data we will need. Okay, nope. So we will need ID, title, description. Let's start. So first of all, ID. The ID will be of type ID. And it's going to be required. The exclamation mark at the end of a type means that the value is required and cannot be null. Then we have title. The title will be a string and also required. Then description. The description, string, let's say that it's not required, can be null, or title, description, image. Image, this will be a URL to the image of a product. I think that we should keep it as required, and this is the image that we display here in this list. However, when we open the page, we have here more images. So for that, we need an extra array of images. So to declare an array of images, we will wrap them around square brackets. Yeah, I think that's how they're called. Inside them, we're gonna type what type they should be. So each image inside this array should be a non-nullable string, and the array itself cannot be null. So that's why we need like here and here the exclamation mark. So we have images. Options is also an array of strings, but in this case, only the values inside the array are required. But the array itself can be null, because some cases we don't have any options. So we're gonna send here just null. I'm thinking if images should be required. Yeah, probably yes. So product here. Then we have average rating and ratings. Average rating will be a float value, and rating will be ratings, right? Will be integer, because this is how many ratings this has. And I think that I can go with required fields here. It depends, like how you think, because if there is no ratings, maybe we're gonna have like null here and null here, or we can have 0 and average rating should be null if there is no ratings, probably. Okay, so for the price is important. So the price will be a required float, and the old price is not required, and this can be a float with which is not required, like this. So I think that's more or less everything that we need about a product, right? Do we need anything else? No, I think that's it. Please make AWS course for free. Hey bro, like here it is. That's what we are doing here. That's the best way to learn. Okay. This is the product. So what other types do we have? We will also have the, where is our files? I'm just gonna think to add everything right now. So we have here in our data, we have cart.ts. The cart will have ID, will have quantity, like how many things you have in the cart. And then we have the option. Which option did we choose to buy? And then we have an item itself. So in our case, it's going to just be a relation, like an item ID, specifying like which item did we buy. Okay, let's create a card product. This is going to be a model. First of all, it will have an ID. Then it will have quantity, which will be integer. Quantity integer. And option will be string. Not required because there are cases when there is no option. Integer. Yeah. And also, it will need to have a relationship with a product, because we need to know like what product did we add to cart. So in that case, we will have a product ID. It's gonna be also type of ID. Let me add it like this: product ID, type ID, and this product ID. With this product ID, we can get the relationship to the product itself, so that when queried, it will give us a data structure like this. So yeah, for that, we're gonna do that the product is a special field that will return a product model. Not an integer, string, or any other primitive types, but a type that we declare. Yeah, it's gonna return a product. And how it's gonna return? It's gonna return it using a connection, using the field's product ID, like this. Do it work? Weird. Why is the... Yeah, that's kind of weird. What's happening here? I don't know. Yeah, I think that my VS Code package for GraphQL does not support this kind of connection, because this is specific to Amplify. Okay, so we have a product connection here. This is going to be similar to this post or this comment that belongs to a post. Okay. And yeah, that's it. We don't need a backward relationship from a product to a list of cart products, because yeah, we don't need that. We don't need to know what cart products we have using that product, at least for now. Okay, for that reason, we can move to the next step, which is, let's see what our data we have here. We have cart, we have products, and we have product. Okay, cart, product. But we will also, yeah, based on the shopping cart here, we will also have, and we should also keep track of the orders themselves, like which orders the user placed. So let's create this type order, right? And the order will be a model. The order will obviously have an ID, and the order should have a relationship with our users. But our users can be identified by an ID that we will be able to get from the authentication model. So let's say there's going to be user sub, that user sub like this, which is going to be a string. This ID, we're going to take it from Amplify, Amplify Authentication from Cognito, and we're going to save it here in the order. All right, so besides the user ID that we have here, we will also have inside the order, we will place multiple cart products, right? Let's think. Yeah, we need to somehow link the order with a cart product. But you know what? I think not to confuse everyone and even myself, I will keep the order for a bit later. So let's work with these two types that we have to deploy everything to see if everything is working. But this cart product should also belong to a user, just to know which user added it to cart. So I'm gonna add a user sub here. So each cart product will have a user sub. So whenever we will query like, okay, give me all the cart products for this user, we will be able to add to query filtering, but by this sub. Yeah. Okay. Let's give it a try and adjust if needed. So I'm gonna run Amplify push to create everything in cloud. Okay. Okay, one more step. Let's not forget. Right. So right now we have not set up any authentication methods for these types. So basically, at the moment, they'll have a default authentication methods, so anyone would be able to access them, but this is the default method. And using this default method, if we don't specify it exactly what method of authentication these types have, then the next step will not work, the Amplify admin UI. So we had the same issue in our Netflix clone, and for that reason we will need to do authentication. And here okay, I forgot how to amplify auth public, something like this. We need to open this to the public, or to specify exactly like who is allowed to read them, who is allowed to create them, like, and so on. Here public, do you have something like that? Yeah, this one, rules allow public. Okay, yeah, this is not the best authentication method, because by doing that we allow anyone to create products. So basically, if you want to improve this, you will define specific rules. For example, only admins would be able to create and update the product. However, everyone would be able to read and list the products. So yeah, with these rules you can do that. But for the sake of simplicity, I'm gonna do allow public here to make our admin UI work. Hey guys, so for everyone who is just joining, while we do Amplify push, let me give you a little introduction on what we are building today, what we are doing here today. So in this video, we continue our e-commerce Amazon clone using React Native and Amplify. And today we are implementing the backend, because in the previous two videos we finished the UI, and now we want to make everything functional with a backend, to have like authentication, to have like the database, to have a GraphQL API, storage, and so on, to be able to manage all the data from a dashboard. So yeah, first step was authentication. We already integrated that. It was, I think, like 5 or maximum 10 minutes job to set up all the authentication flows for login, for creating an account, and so on. Then at the moment we are doing the GraphQL API, but we take it a step further and we want to use the Amazon Datastore to be able to cache all the data locally on the device storage in order to make our application work offline as well as online. So yeah, this is what we're doing right now. Then we're gonna set up AWS storage to manage our media, to manage all, let's say, images that we see here. That's gonna be stored in AWS S3, which is very cheap storage for media. Yeah, the most important part will be the AWS Amplify admin UI. This is a dashboard that allows us to do a lot of things. It allows you to create this backend using an interface without ever touching, for example, the console. But I'm not doing that because we are developers and we need to get used to the console, to generate, to initialize the project, to add all the services using the CLI. However, we're going to use the AWS Amplify for content management because it has a pretty good content management system and they're always updating it. Recently, they added new features like seeding. And when I saw today that we have this seeding, I was like, oh my God, I spent so much time during live streams just creating dummy data in our database. If you remember, like me creating the long queries, adding this data to be able to show you that there is data and to query them. But today you're gonna see how it's done with Amplify admin UI. So yeah, right now we are here. Let's push everything to the cloud. We have added the API. Yeah, we need to run CodeGen models to create the models for our data store. No worries, we're gonna do that in a bit. Now we're pushing everything to the cloud to set up everything, and yeah, it asked me if I'm sure. Yes, I'm sure. I now type integer because it's int. So yeah, I do a lot of mistakes during these streams, but that's how it goes for a developer. So I think that's it. Let's try to do it again. And all right. Now introduce yourself, what you're doing. Are you new to this channel? Did you discover it right now, or you followed our builds that we have here? Because yeah, if you're new, we have a lot of builds similar to this on the channel. For example, WhatsApp, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, Netflix, what else? Spotify, and a lot more. So yeah, if you're new, subscribe to the channel, don't forget, because we are going live every Friday. Do you want to generate code for your newly created? Yes, I want. It's gonna be TypeScript. Let's choose TypeScript. Enter a file name pattern. I'm gonna leave it by default as they suggest. Yes, and yes, and yes. Everything by default. Please don't give source code. Why? Kinda new here. Welcome, Ben. Subscribed. Awesome. Thank you. I hope you'll find a lot of valuable things here. We mostly do modern mobile development using React Native, AWS Amplify. Yeah, in future we're gonna also get into the web development using React.js with Next and stuff like that. I have a lot of plans for future, so stay tuned. I've been linking Drupal with React Native. Oh, that's awesome. So how did it go? Thanks for your tutorials. My pleasure, bro. I started with Tesla Clone. Yeah, Tesla Clone is a very beginner-friendly project intended for people that have never coded it in React Native. I try to make all the projects like very beginner friendly. I'm explaining all the steps that I'm doing. So a lot of people that are coding first time in React Native, they manage to finish the builds, and they learn a lot just by doing this. But usually in a lot of projects, there are some complicated stuff. For example, here, like this backend and stuff like that might be a bit intimidating for beginners. So that's why I did that Tesla clone, which is very simple. It just teaches you how to render beautiful application, to render images, texts, lists, flat lists, and so on, to work with props, to create your own components. Yeah, check that out. Who is from India here? Who is from India here? Yeah, let me know down below. I'm not from India, by the way, but okay. How do I learn Amplify plus React Native? You follow 3-4 tutorials that I have on my channel, and I'm pretty sure you're gonna grasp the idea of React Native and Amplify. I have over 10 projects already on the channel, which contain both backend and frontend with React Native and Amplify. So here you have it, like for free, take it. Using Drupal as backend, obviously, and having React Native talk to it. Yeah, that's also a solution. That's great that you're not limited by technologies. And if you already know Drupal and you want to learn, for example, React Native, you said like, okay, I'm gonna try to connect them together. That's also fine. Benjamin is saying, you're amazing, Vadim. I've been following you since last year and you helped me a lot. Can you do tutorial on custom login with AWS? Thank you very much, Benjamin. Regarding custom login with AWS, yeah, maybe we'll do it in the next videos. But it should be like a separate video or... So, we have our API published. All resources are updated in the cloud. Let's open this cloud and see what's going on there. So I'm gonna write Amplify console, and here it will ask us if we want to open the console or the admin UI. I'm very experienced in React Native, but I want to learn Amplify better. Do you think I should just read the documentation or something else? It depends on the way you better learn. I learn really well from documentation and from examples. However, if you want to a really step-by-step guide to everything, you can follow along, for example, this video, because I provide the UI already done, so you'll not waste time building the React Native UI. But you're gonna clone my repository for the UI, and you're gonna implement only the backend. So here you go. Okay, which side do you want to open? We don't have Amplify admin UI set up yet, so I'm gonna open the Amplify console. Okay, it opens it here. And now our the next step is to set up this admin UI that I was speaking about. Yeah, here we can see all the resources that we have, but you'll see like they are displayed much better in the admin UI. So go to admin UI management to enable it. Okay, let's go there. Let's press on this button. And here, enable admin UI for all environments. Let's press on, and we will wait a couple of minutes until everything is enabled for the admin UI, and then we're gonna be able to enter it. Will we implement payment method? Yeah, we're gonna implement payment method in the next video. So now in this video, we finish everything with the backend, hopefully. And in the next video, we integrate payment gateways. So turn on that notification bell, not to miss the next live stream. Okay, here we have admin UI management. It has been set up, it has been created. Now we need to invite users because there is no users for the admin UI. So let's invite myself. I'm gonna give full access to me. However, you can invite, for example, other people and give them manage only scope, and this will allow them to manage the content in the admin UI, but will not allow it to change any data structure or any API and stuff like that. So yeah, this is a great way to give them access. So let's send the invite. I'm gonna open it here. And let's open the admin UI here, the link that we see here. Yeah, I'm gonna grab the invitation that I received on my email. So basically, you receive a temporary password, and if I go to this URL, like here in the backend environment, it will open the login screen. So I will use my email and the password that they sent me to email. This is a one-time password, and once you get in, you are prompted to change the password. So yeah, let me change it. And boom, password do not conform to policy. Okay, it should have an uppercase. No worries, let's try. Okay. Like this. Most probably I will forget that password. Okay, but that's all right. So here is our admin UI for our backend. In the deployment activity here in the homepage, we can see everything that has been added. And if for any reason there will be an error, you'll be able to see here the status failed and why it failed, like the reason. Okay. You can do a lot of things from this UI. I encourage you to play around, to test, to see what's there, to try to implement something new and to learn how it works. But today I'm interested in the content. Manage the content, and here let's go to data, and the first time it asks us to save and deploy this data model. Deploy. The cool thing is from this data page, you can actually set up all the models that we will have in our application. So we created them here just by typing because I'm used to this, and I think it's if you get used to writing them here, it's easier in a way. But if you're used to work with from a graphical user interface, you can do everything that we've done here. You can do them here in the data. Now it waits to be deployed, but I'm going to show you how you can do that after it's deployed. So while it's being deployed, let me go do some important things. So I'm going to be back in less than 1 minute. All right, I'm back. So it's still deploying. Yeah, this takes a bit of time. Let's see the chat. What are you guys talking about here? Please, in the next project, amplify push notifications. Yeah, that's a great feature. I'd really love to integrate it in some builds. But yeah, everything like is quite time consuming, and I'm trying to make this backend build in, I don't know, 3-4 hours. And still, like, we're doing a lot here, like authentication, amplify, storage, and I think that these are the most important parts. So yeah, I really want to do in a project the push notification, but we'll see how we manage with the time. Okay. What's going on here? So is it deploying? Yeah, let's wait. The deployment is in progress. Yeah, everything here like is in a in a graphical interface. Basically it's the same like as we saw here, like all the create complete, create in progress, and so on. So what about microservices? Yeah, with Amplify, basically you're working with microservices, and I don't know, let's say that you can create like Lambda functions for specific parts of your application that will handle specific business logic. So yeah, it's very easy to create this microservice architecture with Lambda functions, connect them with the API, and whenever you call the API will call the Lambda function, and it will do all the job. Basically, I did that in the 12-hour live stream. Okay, so data here. I said that I'm going to show you how here is we see the data that we already defined in our Visual Studio code here for the product and the cart product. So product, cart product. We can change, for example, the types of the data and so on. We can add new models. I don't know, let's say users. It will have a name. The name will be a string, and it's going to be required here. You can add it as an array. Allow null in arrays. Yeah, this is it. So I'm gonna delete the users because I prefer to manage the data here, manage the data from the code. However, let's go to the content. You haven't saved changed. Are you sure you want to leave? Yes, because I was playing around there. Okay, so here is our content. The table is product. There is also cart product. Here we can create products, for example. We can enter here a title, description, image, and so on. However, there is a cool feature here in actions, auto-generate data. And we can say that we want like 5 items to generate. We can also add some constraints for some fields. For example, for the average rating, we want it to be the minimum value 1 because the default is 15, and average rating, the maximum value to be 5. There is not a lot of constraints here, only like for the length and if their value is integer like this. For example, for images, we cannot specify that it should be a URL. But I guess that Amplify team is working on that, and this seeding will be a very powerful tool, and it will make our life easier. So what else? Price, all price is okay. Ratings, Ratings, we can say that, yeah, max value not 30, but I don't know, 1000. For the description, the max value, max char length can be more than 30. So let's do, I don't know, 1000. Maybe it's a lot. Probably it's a lot. 500 characters will be better. It depends. So let's generate this data. And boom, in 2 seconds, we have 5 columns, 5 products in our database with some dummy data. It's perfectly fine for us just to see that it's working, just to see that we can query this data. What I want to do is to add some, to change some of the images, just to be able to see them. Hey, Amit, thank you very much for the donation. That's really awesome. Okay, so let's go to our source data. Here we have some product images, right? Okay. Images, products. Yeah. I'm gonna copy some of these images and let's go to the first one, for example, and for the image, I'm gonna add it here. Images, I'm gonna add it here. I'm gonna add a new image for the what? Yeah, just add some URLs that you can find in the data.md here. I already prepared some URLs with product options. Let's save a product and move to the next one. Okay, here image can be this one. Okay, this one. Okay, first one, the next one. Let's add these 2 images. I'm so excited about about this content management system. I just remember like how much time it took me to set up this dummy data. And now, yeah, I spent some time to configure the images. Okay, keyboard, mouse. But I think that in future, if they add like dummy data for images, for image URLs, that's gonna be awesome. 2, 3, save. So that's it. I think we have 5 products with real images that we'll be able to query in our page here. So yeah, that's probably gonna be the next step, to query this data. I'm gonna close some of the tabs that I will not need here. Okay. And here in the Datastore, documentation, yeah, I just remember that we forgot to run Amplify code gen models to generate the code for our models. But yeah, it actually did it automatically whenever we did push. So in our source, we see models. And here is all the models that we will need for product, cart product, and so on. You're gonna see in a moment like why we need them and how to manage, to query them, to update, to create new, and so on. Okay, so getting started. All right. So let's open our Let's open our screens and the home screen, which is this one, which displays a list of products. At the moment, we take them from dummy data, but we want to query them to save them in the state of our component, and to display them from the state. So for that reason, we're gonna need a use state. We are gonna need the import Datastore from AWS Amplify, not React Native, just Amplify. Do you have Datastore there? Is declared, is defined, whatever. Yeah. And we're gonna need the model that was generated, the model that we want to query. So our model is gonna be called, it's from, nope. Come on. Okay. Let's import the model is called product, and we will import it from upper component models. No, it doesn't have. So upper component is screens, then one more to the source, and then to the models. Yeah, like this, and just like this. And we need to destructure it because models will contain all the models that we have. So one of them is product, and we will need the use effect, because using this hook we will be able to query our products whenever we mount the component. So the first time that we mount the component, we register this effect, we query the products, and then we save them in state. Okay, so let's declare the state for our products. Set products is use state of product, of type product. We will keep there, and initially it's going to be empty array. I'm going to comment out the import products from the dummy data because it will clash with this one. Okay, here, what do you want? Okay, not sure what's happening here. Type never is not similar to type product. Oh, it's gonna be an array of products like this. Yes, not just a product. Okay, so initially, yeah, we have an empty array. We don't see anything here, but we're gonna register a use effect that is gonna run on the first update. That's why we have here the empty dependency array. So inside this array, we will do const result equal Datastore dot query. And what we want to query, we want to query the product. So let's first of all console log our results to see what we get there. Okay, and if I need not an object, and if evaluating Datastore. Is it? Yeah, I think it's a wait Datastore, and because it's a wait, no, Datastore is not from here. Datastore is, where do we import it from? In when the AWS Amplify. No. Come on, Vadim, come on. Do I need to install something additional? Yes, I need to install Datastore, right? Oh my god, come on. Where do we import Datastore from? I'm gonna open the GitHub example from my project. It should be from here, from AWS Amplify. I don't think it's from Amplify React Native. So let's go to the Netflix clone. In the screens here we have home screen TSX, and the Datastore. Yeah, Datastore is from AWS Amplify. I definitely forgot to import something. Let's let's have a look more in the Datastore getting started. npm, okay, we did that. Install netinfo, yeah, we have it. Okay, we added the API. That's everything that we did. We have the models. Okay. Okay, what does this mean? This means that we need to install this. Let me have a look at the Netflix clone in the dependencies, package.json. Do we have here something as data? No, it should come with AWS Amplify out of the box. And I'm not sure why it doesn't. Oh, I know, because I am not that smart, and it's Datastore with a capital S. Okay, good to know, good to know. Okay. So yeah, because we need a weight here, I will create the fetch products, which is gonna be this async function. And I'm gonna put this Datastore calls that are asynchronous there, so I can. No, I cannot do async here, bro. Yeah, like this. So let's have a look at our debugger. You know what? The command D doesn't work. I mean, I think it was updated and I cannot open the menu. How do I check that? No. Probably here. Oh, come on. In the node. Okay, so we have a list of products here. I understand that this is the list of products because we have average rating, description, and so on. So yeah, let's just go ahead and do set products with the result that we get. Let's save, and voila, here we have the results with all the products that is coming from our database. Yeah, you see the weird numbers here. Yeah, we could fix some of the issues here for the price because it has a lot of digits. So in the components, in the product item index.ts, where we render the price, we can say dot to fixed and here 2, right? Yes. And for the old price, the same, to fixed 2. Yeah, like that. And if we open here, we see all the information about that. Oh no, because we are not querying the data here. We are querying the data only on this page. Okay, but yeah, that's how we fetch the queries using Datastore. And initially, they will try to fetch it from the device, and then it will update them from the database. So everything will be done behind the scenes. Okay. Hey, welcome to notJust Developer Junior member. Thank you very much for joining the membership on the channel. Yeah, that's a great support to make these videos coming, because it takes a lot of time to build them. So I really appreciate that. Yeah, I was thinking that this syntax can be simplified. So we can, instead of using a wait, we can use the old school .then. So instead of doing this, we can say query.then. Let me check. I didn't try this. So after we get the results, here we will receive these results, right? So with the results, we can call this set products. Okay. Results set products with, yeah, no worries. But as you see here, we receive the results and we send them to the function. This can be simplified to just passing the function, because that's how it will work. So if we just pass the function, it will work. And now we don't have a wait, so we can take the data store outside of this function in use effect, and we can delete this function. Let's have a look if it will work. Save, and yeah, it works as expected. So now it's much clearer. So data store we query, and after we query, we set it to state. We set the results to state. Okay, so do you have any questions on this part, guys? Can I build it using Expo CLI and Expo Go? We are building it using Expo CLI. So far, everything will work perfectly fine if you're working with Expo. So it's both Expo and... oh, you mean Expo CLI, not React Native CLI. Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, you can build it with Expo CLI so far. However, in the next video, we're going to implement payment integration, payment gateway. And Expo does not have, does not support it. So at that point, you will just need to eject. So no worries, you can still follow along. All right, okay. So home screen, we query all the products. Try to turn off your network, and then you'll see that whenever you open the app, it will still show you these products because it's cached out offline. I cannot do that here because I need to turn off the internet on my system to be able to test it. So that's not an option for me. Okay, so home screen is done. The next one is the product screen, because whenever we press on the product, now we still display the dummy data. So let's open our product screen index. And yeah, let's import here the data store, the product, the same way as we did in the home screen. I'll do it here after them. I'm gonna delete this view that is not used. We have use state, and we will need also a use effect. We have a use effect. Okay. So let's register the use effect. This is gonna be the call. Don't forget to put the empty dependencies to run this use effect only once, only on the component mounts. And here we're gonna do Datastore dot query, the same way we pass the product. And as the second parameter, we can pass the ID, because in this case, we query all the products and we don't need to pass the second parameter. But here we want to query a specific product, to query it by ID. So we have the ID of a product here in route.params. So let's go ahead and write, or we can take it out from there as this product ID is equal route.params dot you know what? No, we're gonna do it a bit differently. I'm gonna do it directly here. Params dot ID. That's how we send it. And then the result that we get back, we will put it in. Where is it? Oh, we don't have a state for the product. We don't have yet a state for our product. That means that we will define it. Const product set product is equal use state. And the state will be a product, or is gonna be null, because initially we will initialize it with null value, null. Replace with quick fix. What's going on here? Yeah, like this, product or null. And because of that, object is possible null. So let's do it like this. If before returning all the data here, we'll say if product is null, we will return. Here you can return like a loading screen. I think it's called activity indicator, something like that. Yeah. All right. One more thing. So we were working here, Datastore query. Then we want to set, set product. Argument of type dispatch product null is not assigned to parameter of type product undefined. Set product or undefined. Okay. Here, let's say undefined. And initially it's going to be undefined. Yeah. Okay. And yeah, what else? Here our object is possible undefined. These parameters can be undefined. So let's do a if statement. So if this route param doesn't exist, we're gonna just return if params So if route params doesn't exist, we are gonna return. So here we need to add route params ID to the dependencies, because we depend on this. So whenever our ID will change in params, this function will be called. So params for what's going on, like this. Yeah, let's save. And yeah, I think now everything is ready. Let's press on, I don't know, on the first one. Undefined is not object, products.options. That's here, right? So selected option. Okay. You know what? Initially, it's gonna be null. Yeah, initially it's gonna be null. However, if we we set a product, we need to initialize this option with a default value, because visually we will see the default value. Or you know what? Yeah, but let's do it like this, a proper way. So we'll define a use effect with that will depend on the product. It's going to be called every time our product changes. So if product dot options dot if product dot options, then we are gonna set selected option to the product dot options at position 0. Argument says string is not assigned to parameter of set state null. The type of this parameter will be string or null. Save. Okay, and quantity, yeah. Let's try now. Let's press. Oh, here we are. We see our mock here. We see the price. We can fix these issues with the price as well as we did there. I don't know. Let's say price dot to fixed to, and old price to fixed to. So yeah, we see them better here. We see the images. We can go back. We can open another one. For example, this book, we see 2 images. We see the options here. We see the price, the old price. Yeah, that's really nice. Everything is working as expected. So whenever we enter a new product, we see the data there. So if we go in admin Amplify here, let's say this is called known something, and let's add an option. For example, first option is, I don't know, 256 gigabytes, and then 500 gigabytes and 1 terabyte. Let's save. And if I go back and open it again, boom, we have the data here. We can choose from the options that we set here in our admin UI. All right, so yeah, that's really awesome. Okay, we covered querying a list of things, like querying all the products. We covered querying one product. Now we need to query creating something. So what we're gonna create? We should create cart products, because yeah, whenever we add things to cart, we want to create a cart product, and then we're gonna be able to query it here in the shopping cart and display it there. So it's a lot of connection, but yeah, it's gonna be become easier when we get into it. Oh my god, TypeScript. Is it scary? What's going on? TypeScript is, yeah, it's really nice and will save you a lot of time in future. Okay, so let's move on. Let's move on, because so far it's going pretty smoothly. I like it. Everything is from database, backend, and so on. So let's implement this add to cart button. So whenever we press add to cart, where is this implemented? In the product screen. I'm gonna close the home screen. I'm gonna close some of the components here. And we have here button add to cart. So let's replace this function with on add to cart. Yeah, without calling it, we just pass the function, and then we can implement it here. Const on add to cart, like this. So let's import from our models the cart product. You're gonna see how easy it is. So let's create const new cart product will be equal to new cart product, and here we're gonna pass the values of the cart product. So let's have a look at the getting started guide here. Okay, where is it? Datastore, save new post, and yeah, here we will pass the fields. So what fields do we have for our cart model? Let's go into where, I don't know, we can check them here. When creating a cart product, we need the user sub, we need quantity, we need option, and we need to link to a product. Okay, let's grab all of them here. So we need user sub, we need quantity, we need option, selected option, if any, and we need product. Okay, quantity, it's pretty simple to take, because quantity, we have it in state. So when we change it here, we change it in state, it will change here. So quantity is there. We don't need to do anything. Basically, yeah. Option, the same thing. So for the option, I'm gonna pass the selected option, because that's the value in our state. Product, we take it from state, because yeah, we have the product that we displayed here. Now the only step is the user sub. User sub, how do we take the user sub? How do we take it in a easier way? I'm gonna, yeah, I need to call an async function, so that's why let's do it like this. Const create product is equal to async function. Oh, no, this is not a use effect, so sorry, I can just create this function as a sync. I thought that we are in a use effect, that in a use effect we cannot create it asynchronous. So here let's do const user data is equal to, we will need to import the auth model from AWS Amplify, and here from auth we want to current authenticated user. This is the function that we want to call, current authenticated user. So let's first of all console log the user data. I'm gonna show you what what data our current authenticated user method gives. So let me comment out this one. I don't know how to open the debugger. What's going on here, you know? In the new version, previously it was Command D. Does anyone know how to open it in the new version? Because, yeah, I would have to look somewhere here, but it's not very user-friendly. Okay, so when I will press on Add to Cart, I should see here the data for the current authenticated user. So I'm gonna copy it. I'm gonna paste it into some JSON formatter. Process. So it's a very long object containing all the information about the user itself, about the session. It has attributes where it stores all the attributes about the user, for example, email, if he's verified, the phone number, and this sub. This is the unique identifier of that user. It's gonna stay the same for the same user whenever even if he signs out and then signs back in. So the ID is gonna stay the same, and we can use this sub to link a cart product with a user who is doing this action. Okay. Yeah, we have a lot of things here, but yeah, I'm gonna take it from attributes.sub. Going back here, user data. So the user sub will be user data dot attributes dot sub. This is where we will take the user sub. Option, what does it mean? Select the option. So it's war null. Do you work like this? Type string null is not assignable to type string undefined. Type null is not assignable to type string undefined. Selected option can be null. Okay. So I'm gonna change from null to undefined here. And what's going on? Replace quick fix. Oh no, it's too long. Yeah, never mind. And yeah, here it should match. Argument of type user sub any, quantity number, option string or undefined. Is not assignable to parameter of type model init card product. Property product ID is missing in the type. So I need a product ID, not a product. I know that you can either give a product ID or the product itself. So relational models here. Saving connection. So comment. Okay, post ID. But I know that you can, but no worries. I can do here product ID is equal to where are you? I'm lost. Is equal to product.id. Or just product.id, but I will check. So before adding to cart, I'm gonna check if there is no product, if we fail to fetch the product, or if there is no user data, then I'm gonna just return. This way, when going here, our product will be defined and it will have an ID. Okay, so now the only step is to call datastore.save new cart product. Save. So going to admin Amplify here, we see that we don't have any products. Let me refresh the page. We don't have any cart products. Okay, let's see. Yeah, no cart products. However, we are here in our application. We want to buy 2 MacBooks here. Let's add them to cart. I don't see any response. I will do something with that, but let's check if it created the actual cart product.